Dun-dun-dun-dun. This shit's still not working. There we go. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Agenda Piece. Before we kind of get into it, the idea here is that One Piece, we all love One Piece. Everybody who watches our content, watches our clips, really likes the One Piece content. So, this is to talk about One Piece, just One Piece, all One Piece, only One Piece. This is Agenda Piece. Now, what also makes Agenda Piece special for the Black Society platform is that it is open panel. So, if anybody wants to get their agendas off, feel free to join the StreamYard link in the description or in the chat because this is also live and come up, talk One Piece, and we all could just have a good time to pass on the agendas. Now, this is usually going to take place after the One Piece chapter drops or some good content. I'm going to try to have it every week with the boys as long as they are available. If I can't do it, hopefully one of them can take control of it. But this recent chapter, there's some good agendas to talk about, ladies and gentlemen. So this is the three prime agendas we're talking about today. First, is Harald a bum? Is Harald a loser? Another agenda we're talking about, is Garp a fraud? Because there's a lot of conversation about Garp. What's good, Sauce? What's good, Jaden? If y'all want to come up to get your agendas off for Agenda Piece, feel free to join. The StreamYard links in the chat. And then the third agenda we're talking about is how will the Straw Hats break the curse? I think there's a little hint of it in this recent chapter. This also corresponds with a theory that Miles has said. So those are the three agendas we're going to be talking about for today. So let's start off with the spicy one right off rip. Is Harald a loser? Any negative term you could think about, does that apply to Harald? The reason why this is an important agenda to talk about is because there's a lot of anti-Harald sentiment. Man, even Miles said something a little spicy in the Discord because I was defending Harald a little bit. But one thing that is very clear is that Harald is an individual that has a lot of negativity surround his name. Why, you may ask? Well, in the recent chapter, he kind of just admitted that he's fine with being a slave. So that doesn't really help the Harald defenders. Let me see if I can pull up the panel real quick. But saying that I am willing to be a slave is kind of crazy. It's kind of insane. Even if it means becoming a slave, it is tough, boy. It's some tough things to defend. But I do think there's still stuff to talk about here. I think there's, at the very least, stuff to dissect, right? So first things first. Harald is a character that wants to redeem the giant race. He wants to change the outlook of how giants are perceived in the One Piece universe. People perceive them as savages that only tries to not ostracize, but take control of other races, try to overpower other races because of their giant size and their ultimate ability, because they're also smart in addition to being strong. So everybody basically said fuck the giants because of all this, because of what they've done in the past. It's kind of similar to the philosophy. I mean, they're kind of very much based in the same type of cultural aesthetic. Vikings, right? Vikings, even though they can get glorified a little bit in different types of media, Vikings are deemed savages as well. Vikings are people who would pillage different villages, who would do unspeakable things to your women, all that bad stuff. So Vikings currently lived right now, people would have a very bad negative connotation to it. So he's trying to revive the image of giants in the One Piece universe. Now, does that make the way he's going about it the best way to go about it? I don't know. That's a little questionable. But one thing that is very clear is that he does seem like he cared about the fact that rocks bit the dust. We saw in the recent chapter in 1166 that when Rox officially died, Harold made it very clear that Rox was his best friend. He just couldn't join his side because he had a bigger ambition to follow, to save the image of the giant race. Rox was the most dangerous, most evil man in the One Piece universe based off general perception. So if he joined alongside Rox, the entire giant race would still, arguably even worse so, break all their relationships. They would have seen King Harold, who's done all these ways to establish peace, as a snake. And the only reason why they tried to establish peace is because Harold wants to secretly invade all these nations. That's probably would have been the perception of Harold if he would have joined Rox. So he didn't join them, but they were friends. He always saved him time for day, and he never truly tried his hardest to capture Rox. I know they fought a couple of times. I know he declared that he's going after Rox, but let's be honest, Harold was never truly trying. It's the same thing as like Garp and Roger. If we're being honest, how much were these guys trying their hardest to take each other out? There was that kind of friendly relationship, even though they perceived each other as the enemy. So Harold was an individual that had a lot on his plate to revive the giant name, and he was doing a good job. I do think Harold has a plan beyond just becoming the slave of Emu. Do I think it's kind of cowardice? Do I think it's kind of weak? Yes. But if you're an individual and you know that you are the only one to establish peace in the one giant world, or four giants, then I kind of understand it. There are people in history that is willing to die to save everybody else. You may perceive that as weak, but there's a lot of figures in history that's willing to die for their people, for humanity. I mean, the most famous man in human history is a perfect example of that. So this is, to me, an example of Harold dying for his people. That's what this seems and looks like to me. But I do believe there is a bigger plan here. I'm going to give Harold the benefit of the doubt and say there is a bigger plan in place of eventually establishing giant kind. So one thing we can say for certain, that in the future, yes, the God Knights are doing what they're doing now, but there was a long period between Harold's demise in the current One Piece timeline where there was peace. That's just objectively true. There was peace. Giants were able to live. Kids were able to just learn. There was no friction. There was no fighting. They didn't know war. And that's one of the best examples of peace where kids can grow up not knowing war. So, even if you want to say it's the short term, even though giants live much longer than normal people, giants had peace for an extended period of time. Now, this is where I think the grander vision takes place. His sons, Harold and Rox, were two individuals that it very clearly seems that those two, if they combined each other, would have made a huge shakeup in the One Piece universe. Harold and Rox, because Rox made it very clear that Harold was the king, needed to lead the giants. He was going to revive the Galilea, I forget exactly what they're called, but a very important group of giants for Rox's plan. The only person who could do it is Harold. And I do think Rox also realizes that not only is Harold strong, not only is he smart, not only is he good at diplomacy, but he is an effective leader. So, with that said, There is something that currently exists for the Giants with the kindness of Harold, with the strength of Harold, and with the ambition of Harold, in addition to having a different point of view and a larger vision that could be the best parts of the dynamic between Harold and Rocks. That is Harold's sons. Maybe, just maybe, Harold knew that he could establish peace, but he could not save giant kind. Maybe, just maybe, he wanted to set the stage for the future. If we are going to go out of our way and say Roger was an individual who couldn't stop everything, but set the path forward, him and Shanks, for someone like Luffy to change everything on its head, I think a similar argument can be made that Harold used his power and influence to set the stage for Hadradine and Loki to save giant kind. It's the boy. Oh, he's not gonna like what I said though.
Ladies and gentlemen, Riddell, football was good, my brother. You know what I'm saying? We gotta stop letting Riddell get this nonsense off, ladies and gentlemen, right? Because while I do agree, he is correct, right? The Loki Harold dynamic, or excuse me, the Hadradine Loki dynamic is going to be similar to kind of a Rocks young Harold type of ordeal, and their kind of union together is going to push forward Giant Kind to the next stage. I do agree with that. That nigga Harold did not mastermind this shit. He was not thinking ahead. I'm not letting you get this Harold glaze. Harold's a fucking idiot. He's an absolute idiot. And this latest chapter really brought it home to me. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not like he's just dumb. He's not dumb at all. He understood. Yo, I just spoke to Rocks. We just had a conversation. He opened up to me, let me know who he is. I intercepted him one more time. I had another opportunity, and I could have saved him here. If Harold's there, Rocks is saved. 100% he's saved. 100% he's saved. You know what I'm saying? You abandon your homie, right? You know he dies. No, I'm going to shoot him some bail. He might not know how he died. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't know about Emu yet, things like that. But, bro, you know the government is there. You know your dog died. You're supposed to get back, bro. But instead, he bends the knee again. He doubles down. He denies his own heritage. Bro, we give Itachi all of that smoke, call him a coon, all of this. Harold's worse. Harold's way. This is bad. This is a bad showing of a character. This is horrible. Harold's horrible.
I won't go as far, even though I'm actually one of those people who don't dislike Itachi, regardless of whether or not I agree with his sentiment.
Yeah.
In terms of the people, in terms of like what happened to the people, I mean, Itachi, all his people died. Like, they're all dead. At the very least for Harold, that's why I think, even if you don't agree, his people were in peace for years. I don't know how long, but kids were able to grow up not knowing violence with his people.
How much is that worth when you're furthering evil? What Harold effectively did was further evil for the peace of his own. That's all he did. He's furthering evil.
Yes. If you don't believe there's a grander master plan with him,
no,
if you don't agree with the idea, Loki and Hadradine are going to be the ones to help take down Emu in the future.
Harold could have gotten the same thing that he wanted, but the actual thing if he worked with Rocks. He's furthering evil, And then when Emu, we know that Emu's not going to get it, but let's say if Emu was to get their perfect world, because we know the world's incomplete, he's probably going to discard the Giants. I don't think they're going to have a place in this new world or whatever's coming next. He's furthering evil. I'm going to borderline say selfishly. Because now you're going the whole extra mile. They're showing they don't want you. You have people who do want you. You're denying them. You just want to be you want to be down with the government so bad. It's crazy. Nothing you've seen has shown them as good actors.
I think it's fair to say Harald is the most extreme version of a person trying to protect his people no matter what. No matter what, he doesn't care. I mean, he doesn't care. You're right. He doesn't care about what happens to everybody else. He doesn't care about the grander vision. As long as they can live in peace, that's what matters the most. Now, the only thing, even though I'm playing the biggest devil's advocate I can for Harald, there needs to be some type of foresight that eventually they're going to come after the Giants. Like, what is your protection for your people when the world government goes after them? And if it really is my sons, then I need to see that manifest. Whatever the last moments of Harald is, because we know he dies. Maybe it is in part to Emu taking over him. We need to see that one moment where he goes like, I'm leaving everything in my son's hands. And there has to be something like that.
But it's like, okay, I think that's going to happen, right? I know this is like a gender feature point. Like, what you're saying is probably going to happen, right? Before Loki kills him, little quick thing, thank you, my son, I leave it all to you. Something sweet, like, you know what I'm saying? He's not masterminding this shit, right? And we know this because Loki went on for a very, very long time pillaging the seas, right? Whether that's out of grief, whatever. He was angry. He was on a rampage for a while until Shanks kind of reined him back in. And Hydra Dean was just like a bum. He wasn't really on anything. And I don't think that necessarily really matters. But what I'm saying is this piece, I don't really know how thorough it was, right? We get to see the kids kind of, but knowing that Loki was doing his thing on the seas, probably sullying the reputation of the Giants that his father had built, right? There was a brand new giant pirates. They were kind of bad actors. We saw how they attacked Luffy and the crew and kind of hypnotized them the moment they touched down. So I'm not going to say peace is kind of relative. I just want to hone in on the fact about Harald. You had the opportunity to build Utopia, long-lasting, forever peace. Because I think with Harald, Roger, Rox, after this event kind of somehow getting on the same page, knowing what was up, knowing what was at stake, I feel like they could have been the ones to beat Emu. I'm kind of feeling like Harald derailed this whole thing. Roger was too early. Roger was too late. Rox kind of got hoed by all his niggas. Harald was the one key here where it could have been like, man, this could have been a difference between us kind of doing things now and us having to wait for Luffy. And then now this peace and his sons and all of this stuff is going to happen because of Luffy. These two kids are talking because of Luffy. Harald didn't do shit. Them niggas hated each other no matter how hard he tried because he was too busy sucking government meat than, you know what I'm saying, actually seeing after his people and his family.
I will say, although I agree, I think Harald, if he was there, I do think there's a strong chance that he would, all of them would have been able to do what they got to do. It is kind of tough because even with everybody there and Emu kind of no-diffing everything, it seemed like she easily still changed rocks. So True. I feel like that probably still would have happened and he probably still would have died, but maybe a little bit more of a actual blow to the Holy Knights and Emu probably would have happened as well. I will say, I think you said it earlier, and I agree. None of them knew about Emu, though. So I think that's also something that's hard to pin on Harald. He didn't know about Emu. He didn't know that Roger and Garp were going to be there. He didn't know they were going to team up. He didn't know all of them were going to this huge battle.
That. I'm not buying that. The only concession I'm giving them is Emu. The whole world knew what was happening. Not the whole world, but like Pirate World, you know what I'm saying? The hitters, everybody was at God Valley. There's no way he didn't know who was going to be there. I'm not buying that.
No, I'm saying he didn't know they're going to team up. Because the idea is that Roger and Garp are going to fight against each other.
Sure, it probably wouldn't have got to that point if my nigga Harald. Anyway, continue.
Yeah, this is a tough spot, and I do think Oda did this very very deliberately to make it seem that, well, this explains why they're in this period of peace. That explains their involvement with the Giants. They're important at the same time, but Harold's decision ultimately was the wrong one, and I think that is very clear
Very
with how
much so.
everything is presented. And the question is, how will Hajradin and Loki make up for Harold's mistakes? Is probably the important thing moving forward. So we'll see how that plays out. Another big agenda. Oh, you got something to say? Go ahead.
I was going to say there was a quote that I said, "Words are peace. Words of peace mean more when you have a big gun." That's all they're going to do. Hajradin's going to be the talker, the diplomat. And when that shit falls through, yo, Loki, you know what I'm saying? Take care of business. That's the medium they needed, right? Harold was way too far on the side of peace to overwrite the way too, much side of rage, war, all of those things. They just need that middle. Do what we want or get fucked. And I like it. I think it's going to be real cool. And I'm with you. I don't think Loki joins anymore. I'm not too sold on it yet. The Straw Hats, I mean. The Alliance, sure, but not the immediate crew.
Yeah, and that's a very good quote. I'm learning that firsthand when I play Arc Raiders because I hate everybody now. They're all ops. They're ruining my experience. I'm shooting everybody I meet now. I got to get that big gun because people keep on killing me, and it's not cool. Is bro? Oh my goodness! You should have seen my last Twitch stream. I only did it 30 minutes because of how mad I was.
Yeah,
me and these guys. To be fair, we did kill these random people, but we killed the Bastion. Mm-hmm. So we destroyed that. First time destroying it. Got all this loot. I completed my objective. We're all good. We show up, and then these random people show up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And all three of us are down. And then I send them to Spurnaza, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
But just before we're both all gone, I die. 1 second before I am good, I'm dead, and I lose everything.
I'd be hated.
I was so mad, bro. But my teammates were good though. But like, okay, all right.
Arc is fun.
With that said, Arc Raiders is fun, but it pisses me. It's a rage game. It's a rage.
Yeah, you got to have a real tough mental because especially if you die 2-3 times in a row, you lose your shit. I'd be crashing out. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, that's some good shit, bro. All right. Another agenda. This one I will be the Garp defender on the pod. I'm just saying, I do believe that Garp had a bigger ambition. I feel like this chapter reinforced what his intention was with everything here. So not only is there a big conversation between Harald and everybody hating on Harald, but there is an interesting kind of split. I think this is way more 50-50. 50% really think Garp is a traitor, and then 50% are defending Garp. So this is probably one of the biggest splits I've seen in One Piece in a long time in people's perception of Garp. What do you think? What do you think?
So for one, this is a little side agenda. Sengoku's a rat bastard. Like, if the government's also slimy shit, I'm gonna just act like I didn't see nothing. Sengoku's bad for business. I liked them before. I don't fuck with him no more after that comment. As for Garp, the best way I was kind of rationalize it, because I am with you. What he's saying and what he's trying to do, I believe is important. You know what I'm saying? There's people who are just following orders, doing their thing. They can't be concerned with what the top brass are doing, and they need somebody to help them because he knows what's up there. He's a lot like Luffy to me. And I don't think Garp and I guess Suru and Bogard, who's like big in the agenda piece world, he didn't have anybody to really help him flesh out his ideology. And I feel like he's kind of doing it on his own. And him being like Luffy, that's kind of probably why it's not panning out as best as he could. How I'm kind of getting that way is even his conversation with his son, like with Dragon. That's a very Luffy conversation. That's something. If Luffy was in a high tense situation with a close one like that and didn't know what to say or how to express himself, I feel like he would just be I hate you, Dad. Okay. I'm leaving the Marines. Okay. Here's the key, though. You know what I'm saying? Garp is very clearly a good intentioned, good-hearted person. You know what I'm saying? And he just needed a better team around him to help him really push his ideals forward. Now, with that being said, I can kind of say I don't think Sword accomplished much, but it's good he made Sword. It's good he found someone to pass on that hero torch and kind of complete his mission and maybe form a better team around him to complete that mission. Helmeppo, all of those guys. And I apologize, Garp. I exonerate you. You're a good dude. I think his God Valley showing has been incredible. I think he's lived up to all of the hype. He just needed some more guidance. And when you got a rat bastard like Sengoku next to you, I don't think it was possible for him to achieve the dream and maybe the speed that I would have, liked.
And I think another thing you could say is Sengoku was also the shackle keeping him there. Not other than the obvious Marines he was protecting. This situation made it very clear that Sengoku was here. Him and their best friends, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And Sengoku is going to try to achieve things by growing up, and that's his idea. And I think when I saw this interaction, the perfect example of their relationship is that Sengoku stopped Garp from saving Ace or getting revenge for Ace against Akainu. Because it's very clear there's probably more things Garp wanted to do, but Sengoku was preventing him from doing it because it probably would have been bad for his image or whatever it might be. So I think that's another very interesting part about it, regardless of how you feel about Sengoku, that whether this is a good thing or bad thing, Sengoku was keeping Garp at bay from him kind of wilding out. And to your Luffy analogy, that's Zoro's role, but Zoro kind of lets Luffy do a lot of stuff.
Because
Sengoku probably keeps him in hold way more than Zoro does.
It's almost like, other than Dragon, the monkey family are like guns, and you got to just point them real good. They're really big, powerful guns, right? So, whereas Luffy, to me, is very clearly the captain, if they were pirates, it almost seems like Sengoku would kind of be the captain, and Garp is just like his right man, who happens to be a little stronger than him. That's kind of how it kind of seems. If Sengoku says don't do it, I'm not going to do it. And then, you know what I'm saying? I'll be the deterrent in case he gets to that top brass and he needs to be, removed. Garp just got dealt a bad hand, man. But hey, he gave birth to a son, two sons, or son and a grandson, that are going to be the catalyst to change. So, WU, man. You're better than Harald, at least.
Yeah, and he definitely inspired and built a group of Marines more than likely that do have good hearts. Like Smoker, for example, is very similar right now. Even though he's not like super powerful, he has a good heart. He's a good Marine. Obviously, everybody was Sword with Kobe, Helmeppo. I still think Aokiji's good. I still think this is like a double agent type thing with Aokiji. And maybe there's more people that we have yet to see. And Sengoku left. It is kind of strange. We see all this, and Sengoku left his position. So there's no way he's done, right?
Well, given all he knows, they didn't let him retire. So he's just on as Inspector General. But I wouldn't be surprised if when the time comes, he just information dump, helps out in that regard. I can't see him stepping out there, though.
If anything, he better help save Garp. But he's the one who I'm going to become Fleet Admiral and change everything, and then you left it and gave it to Akainu. So, if anybody could deserve smoke, it's Sengoku. I'll be honest.
He tried. Aokiji lost.
Oh yeah, Aokiji was his guy, but Garp was still trying to do his role. His role was still continuous.
Sure.
You can't just give up. You still know there's corrupt, evil people up top. What are you doing? Are you just going to sit and eat your chips?
That's all he can do. That's all he can do.
We'll see regarding Sengoku, but hey, I'm glad we're on the same page regarding the Garp defense. And I feel like hopefully Dragon realized like Garp wasn't bad. This is an emotional situation. Hopefully you realize that Garp is still. I think he gave Luffy to his dad. So yeah, he definitely realized.
He knows. Yeah, he knows. It's just they have a different way about doing things, and sometimes that's just be how father-son dynamics work. You know what I'm saying? Same goal, different way. It is what it is. We don't agree. I love you, but I got to do my own thing.
Fair enough. So Or do you still don't think? I still might think that Garp and Dragon were in contact low key with some information transfer of sword in the revolutionaries. Do you still think that's not the case, or?
I don't like giving Garp credit. I don't think he's intelligent. I'm sorry. Now, if Sword, you know what I'm saying, decided to kind of do that on their own, or maybe they ran into each other, I don't. It's not far fetched for me to believe that, but I can't see Garp actually contacting Dragon or anybody and not getting caught. He's just dumb. He's Luffy. He's stupid.
And maybe that was Aokiji's role. So maybe
we giving Aokiji too much credit, man. I think he has to find himself. I think that's what the whole purpose of this is. He just has to find himself.
I think that's fair. We'll see how everything plays out. There's still more regarding the whole Garp situation, and then of course I'm still vehemently in the theory that Kobe and Law are going to team up to go after Blackbeard's island. So
again, team up part 2.
They gotta save Garp and Law's crew. And Law's crew.
Didn't Law just get whooped?
He did, but he got to save his crew.
There's gonna be a lot of people there. The team up that people need to be talking about: Buggy and Blackbeard. Stay woke. That's gonna happen.
Is it because Buggy's a Davy Clan member?
No, I don't like that. Oh, actually, no, you said it right. I don't mind if he's a Davy Clan member. I don't like the Roxas Sun shit. I think that shit's so dumb. But Davy Clan, sure, I'm fine with that. But more so, they just operate two different sides of piracy, and if they came together, it would, you know what I'm saying, it'd be really potent. Buggy got more so to organized crime, wanted posters, syndicated shit, and then Blackbeard just lawlessness. So they come together, really strong alliance. They'll be good.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how this kind of manifests, especially with the. I'm so curious to see what Mihawk's deeper lore, because a lot of people speculated that we're gonna get Mihawk's lore in this backstory, but there was. I don't know. Weren't there some theories that Mihawk was related to Rocks? Did some people theorize that or something like that?
He's related to everybody. He's related to Shocky and Rayleigh. He's related to Emu.
Oh yeah, Rayleigh's the one. Yeah, Rayleigh.
Mihawk is just, you know what I'm saying? He's just such of an enigma. They just make up anything.
Yeah, we'll have to see how that plans out. Someone said in the chat, I think Oda's setting up Kobe versus Kuzan, just like Sabo versus Akainu. I think Kobe will change Kuzan's perspective. By the time they fight, Ibu will be taken care of, so Kuzan will believe in change. That means you think Kuzan's not a double agent. I think he's just changed sides.
Which
Kobe beating Kuzan's kind of wild to me. I don't know.
Why not? You don't think so? Hey, what? No. You have to think so. The way y'all glaze them. Yeah, no, you can't be saying, I don't know, Kobe beating Kuzan's crazy. When y'all are also telling me he's going to have conquerors, he's going to do. I got my eye on you. But overall to the take, I'm not mad at it. Like I said, I think Kuzan's just finding himself. I don't know if he's that far as like being a double agent, but he doesn't know what he wants to do. He's always struggled with justice. We've seen multiple times throughout his tenure with the Marines. And now he has the opportunity to kind of, do his own thing, because he definitely didn't agree with Akainu's version of justice, right? So he's like, if there's no justice here, maybe the pirates have justice. And Blackbeard, being that inspiring enigma similar to Luffy, probably made him think, this is the way towards what I'm looking for. So I could definitely see it, and Kobe bring him back and kind of show him that, no, the Marines aren't gone. I'm going to replace Akainu. You can kind of follow me. I think that'd be cool to see. Now, back to the agenda, Kobe's a fucking bum. That honesty, impact, punching the island, we're not moved by that. Kobe's not one of those guys. Diplomacy. You know what? That's what I'm going to start doing. We're separating people no longer by top tiers, low tier, Yonko, all of that stuff. Throw that out the window. Diplomacy versus Hida. Kobe's with Hadradine and Harald and all. Diplomacy. Luffy, Loki, Rocks, Shanks, Hitters. Simple.
All right. I mean, we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. I guess the last agenda, what's good, Gabe? The last agenda to talk about for Agenda Piece, episode 1, is the way to break them out of the curse. They have very much alluded to it in this chapter, and this probably aligns with your theory as well, is that whatever Roger and Garp did broke rocks out of the curse. So there is a way. Obviously, the Holy Knights came and cleaned up so to not allow rocks to escape. Yeah, it's disgusting, nasty war came in and tried to take out, they took out rocks. So, with that said, how were we looking at the curse, and what do we think caused it to get broken?
For me, right now it's just too early to say. I don't know. I made the theory that I thought the voice of all things was going to be kind of a factor in it. It kind of wasn't here. There's definitely a mastery of Conqueror's Haki that our crew, at least, is going to need to kind of learn. They were talking about mass, focusing all of your Conqueror's Haki into one point, which is how they kind of at least stalled rocks, because he was still kind of up. If somebody could have picked him up, he would have kind of lived this situation. I think it might be a time limit. I just think they timed him out, or maybe Emu's energy ran out, something like that. But right now, there's nothing conclusive to really tell, except that Haki is going to play a part, same way it played a part in stopping their regeneration. There's an extra little layer of mastery that's missing, and it's very, very clear that this is still intro Conqueror's Haki, but it's probably going to be Haki.
Yeah, I'm similar. We got King saying Haki transcends everything. I like that Oda doing that. I know a lot of the fan base hates that concept, though, because it's punch harder.
I don't even agree with that. I think it's more so punch correctly.
Yeah, I agree. It's not like they just garner a bunch of ki and gather the energy like a spirit bomb. It's very clear that they have to use it in a very, very specific way, which is why Luffy had to learn how to master conquerors from people like Rayleigh and the old dude at Wano. I forget his name.
Hyogoro. Or Hyogoro.
Him, yeah.
Hyogoro, yeah.
Something like that. It starts with the H. But, and now we're seeing that there's another aspect of it with Roger and Garp condensing their Conqueror's Haki, kind of like mass, kind of like gravity. Well, if you condense it to a point, it becomes extremely powerful. I think there probably is still something connected to the voice of all things, especially considering Rocks again contacted them afterwards, after this entire confrontation. I could see it kind of being like, you know how when Naruto and Sasuke fought each other?
Sure.
And they did the Rasengan versus the Chidori?
Sure.
And then they entered that one space where they were kind of talking to each other inside their own.
That'd be cool. Man, the Oda as a copycat would be going crazy. But I'd actually like that if you get to speak to them or interact with their psyche or whatever.
Yeah, I think that's very plausible, especially in this moment. Oda probably did it in a way where we didn't see it for a reason, to make it more dramatic when we see Luffy do it. I think, if anything, for it to be extremely impactful, it would have to be a situation where I would have to say Loki would have to get Hajradin out of it, because Hajradin having conquerors would be kind of wild. I don't know if I see that one. I can see Loki having it and then helping get Hajradin out of his curse situation. I think that would be very potent. So that talking to kind of get them out of there, in addition to whatever they're doing with Conqueror's Haki to affect them individually, that would also have to mean that there's something. It would have to be one of two things. Whatever Emu's doing is either devil fruit related or Haki related. So,
or something new.
I don't even know what a new thing could be, because it's such a weird technique.
The concept of immortality is like wild at a baseline. It might be something brand new. We know that the world's kind of been reset multiple times. It could have been from a previous world or something. Who knows? But I don't know. One thing I do have to say, though, is Doflamingo, you the GOAT, bro. Because out of all of these celestial dragons that we've been introduced that are supposed to be fighters, you've had the best showing of any celestial dragon thus far. So salute to you. Saturn, horrible. Garland, horrible. mastermind, but horrible combatant. Maffey, Whitebeard just cut that bitch in half. Just slice that bitch in half. Garbage. Every time we see what's my dude with the vines?
Gunko?
I don't count her. She fought Usopp. We moved. She kicked Loki when he was tied up. We moved. This is agenda piece, y'all. It got to get nasty. We moved. What's the Vine dude? He's so trash. I can't think of him.
Oh fuck! What is his
exactly.
name? Yeah, he is trash.
Robin beat the shit out of him. If she knew how to get past the immortality, Robin would have fucked him up. Then he got sliced by Gabon. Every time Gabon sees him, he's cutting this motherfucker in half. These celestial dragons are ass. They are ass. And I'm not gonna lie, Emu, you're gonna have to show me. I'm not convinced yet. I'm honestly not convinced yet. I'm really, really not. It looks cool. It sounds good. But you're gonna have to show me.
I'm kind of there with you. Not with Emu. I mean, I feel like Emu, the tanking of all those attacks is just too impressive to me.
Hey man, she tanky, cool.
Hey man, sometimes that's enough. I will say this though. To be fair, Doflamingo's comp is nowhere comparable to their comp. Doflamingo was getting his ass handed to him to like first version Gear 4 Luffy.
But think about fair. Before that, he fought Sanji, he fought Law and Fujitora. He fought Law 3 times before that. Viola, all those other people. He has the bird cage going. Doflamingo was doing a lot. Like, yeah, the comp is not Roger, such and such. He was doing a lot. His crew's pretty incompetent. Pika got packed up, one-shotted. Zoro raped that guy. Just not a good showing from his crew. Doflamingo did a lot of heavy lifting. He was ready to go toe-to-toe with Kuzan. He smoked Smoker, put Smoker in a pack. As far as, like, their portrayal, like, yeah, I know his comp's not the same. Doflamingo felt like, man, when I was watching him, I wonder what the rest of the Celestial Dragons that can fight are going to be like. That's what it made me think. Because if this is what this one can do, the stronger one should do way more. And they do way less. They done nothing except get beat.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. He definitely showed more in terms of his capabilities in a fight itself. And to be fair, I mean, Dofi, I'm guessing a lot of that was ingrained into him after he left the Celestial Dragons, especially considering all the Holy Knights and the Elders, all of them, yes, they are immortal, but that's also a crux. If you don't feel pain, if you don't feel like your life is in danger, you're more lackadaisical when you fight. Like, that's just a common sense sentiment. So they feel it, but they're like,
they know they're
still back. Not afraid of dying.
Yeah.
So they have no issue kind of just tanking things. I am curious to see. I think Gunko was the best one on timing, where she just took it seriously. The entire time Gunko was dealing whatever she was dealing with, she took it seriously. Vine dude, I'm with you. He's kind of trash. I'm not gonna lie. He just talks a lot. He talks a lot.
Yeah.
The Nightmare dude, we haven't seen a lot. His abilities are useful, but we haven't seen a lot in terms of him fighting. At the very least, he's not getting packed up like Vine dude is. Like, sure. And then the Elders fighting Gear 5 Luffy.
He disrespected.
It is what the Elders, nothing crazy. Some having better showings than other. So I'm definitely there with you. I'm curious to see what happens when everybody comes back, when Luffy, Zoro, Sanji, Luffy, Loki all show up, and how they're going to deal with the God Knights and Emu. I am curious about that, but I hear that. Anything else before we end agenda piece?
This might be for a clip that I'm going to make a TikTok. I'm going to just keep it short, though. Expectations versus reality. I'm going to leave it at that.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Well, this is the first installment of Agenda Piece. We went through a lot of very good stuff. If you guys enjoy, make sure you tune in every Saturday. Don't have a specific time in case because we all have very busy schedules, but try to do it every week. Talk about what's going on in the recent One Piece chapters now that One Piece is here, especially considering we're on the final stretch of One Piece, right? Like final stretch. So it's only fair that we talk about what's going on. So hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys are enjoyed, like the video, the stream, and of course, if you're listening to the podcast, rate the podcast 5 stars. Y'all have a good one. Take care and peace.
Peace.